Welcome back to the Entertainment Roundup. I'm Jay77. A couple of stories I want to talk about here live via through the Starbucks Cafe in the good old Bronx. You can hear a lot of noise rattling in the background. I do apologize ahead of time, but it is a busy day. It is a beautiful day. More beautiful than we had on Friday. Still a little chilly, but otherwise just fine. And good enough to actually sit down, have my coffee along with the other people who are here having their coffee, a cappuccino, whatever, doing their work, and discuss some of the entertainment stuff that is happening in the entertainment world. Let's get right straight to it. I want to talk about the article that I actually prompted me to ask the question of the day, and that is, would The Godfather, particularly 1 and 2, would have been made in this era as it was made 45 years ago? Francis Ford Coppola was stated saying that The Godfather wouldn't have gotten made today, which brings the question, what did he mean? This topic was done by the HuffPost by Matthew Jacobs. By the way, most of the stories, if not all, will be on the HuffPost, so let me keep you guys in mind. And it pretty much says in the statement like this: you haven't seen Devotion until you've been in a room with nearly 6,000 Godfather disciples. The Maniac Phantom typically revolved around Comic-Con and Star Wars fans. Was front and center when Francis Ford Coppola and the cast reunited Saturday at the Tribeca Film Festival closing night, capping off a 9-hour event that included a screening of Godfather and The Godfather Part 2, a 45th anniversary panel discussion found Al Pacino, Diane Keaton, Robert De Niro, James Caan, Talia Shire, Robert Duvall, recounting the messy process and making the movie they never expected to become such a defining Hollywood signature. Now, for those who don't know or haven't seen the behind the scenes, the actual behind the scenes, The Godfather went through hell. If the studios would have had their way, it wouldn't have been the way that we have seen The Godfather on the screen. In fact, it was very close to being set on the timeline that the film was actually made. It was going to be an action flick, not a drama, and a lot of stuff that made The Godfather such a hallmark film, a Hall of Fame film, would not have existed. Francis Ford Coppola took a very big gamble and struck gold with this film. And even with that being said, it wasn't just Hollywood that he had to deal with. A lot of the actors' lives was threatened because the mob played a very strong role in this movie. In fact, they was doing everything they can to not get it made because they didn't want anything to reflect bad on them. And even when the film was made, Francis Ford Coppola was disappointed in how the mob reacted because it seemed to vindicate them for all their past criminal activities. You have to look at this documentary. It's a very strong documentary, and it really shows that never films is produced in a glamour and great light as one may expect. That a lot of the stuff behind the scenes is just as much fascinating, as not eerie, than the actual movie itself. The article goes on to say, in a sellout crowd at Radio City Music Hall has been both boisterous throughout both films, cheering and iconic dialogue, and almost every gruesome death or colonial victory. Just imagine how exhausted they were by the time as the A-list group took the stage. The Godfather is one of the most chronicled movies in history, as proven by nearly 800-page another book that Coppola published last year. Much of the Saturday Night panel retreaded well-told stories. Paramount resistant to casting, which was another big situation with Marlon Brando, the near firing of Al Pacino. It was just a whole lot of stuff. Threatening to fire Coppola out of fear that the directorial choice would jeopardize the success of the faithful signal that take in which Ford added to cast to the opening scene. Fuzzy erupted with moderators. Telly Rover asked the audience to shout out questions. One fan posed something that further explained the film's flowing. Could The Godfather be made today? The answer, according to Coppola, is no, which is very interesting. Well, it could be made, he said, but it would be an offer major studios will have to refuse. First, The Godfather cost $6.5 million. Coppola explained that is relevant to about $38 million today, equivalent to $38 million today, which would have make it a mid-budget project, market that overruns by Tiptoe titles costing well over $100 million. You said Godfather 2 budget was 11-12 million dollars, which is about 60 to 7 million nowadays. That's inflation, by the way, they are bringing up. It would never get through the process of getting an okay, or what they have now called a green light. Coppola and Hammer Hollywood Studios have pointed out they are mostly interested in movies with built-in franchise potential, pretty much like Marvel Comics and the comics that provoke chuckles for the audience. This is, he's not wrong what he's saying, by the way. You gotta understand, when Godfather came out in the 70s, even part in the 80s, Hollywood was on their last legs. Television, yes, television, was almost put Hollywood in the verge of extinction. And Coppola, along with George Lucas, along with Steven Spielberg, along with even Stanley Kubrick, these directors had the notion, the absolute foresight to actually work outside the bubble, took huge risks, and brought genres that otherwise would have been written off and took it to the next level. You heard about Steven Spielberg, of course, being the king of the summer blockbuster directors. Coppola being the person who made art film, because Godfather is an articulate film. It's not one that you look for a high mind-blowing action. It's not a popcorn film. It is a articulate drama, and made it into a cult phenomenon that really has not been surpassed well after this film was made 45 years ago. It is one of the reasons why it's either number 2, number 1, and The Godfather 2 is either number 2 or number 1. That's how strong these films are and how much they hold today. He goes on to say there's basically not enough wire, Colin Joe, to refer to the suspension of technical use of film superheroes and Hogwarts wizard fights. So basically, this film will be pretty much been put down in the back burner to these movies, and you can understand what he's saying. But most importantly, the risk behind it. If the same risk would have been coming with them dealing with the threats of the mob, the intimidation of the mob, through Hollywood basically getting cold feet and not wanting the certain cast, this film would have probably been dead on arrival. This film came out at a time where, one, Hollywood was dying and they needed an actual boost to rejuvenate itself, and two, it came out at a time where it was different, it was new. Keep in mind, monster films was pretty much of a joke. They really was pretty much sanitized, and on purpose, because again, it was a different time and people view movies differently at the time. So again, these are the kind of stuff that plays a specific role in what it is. But it is a fascinating thing that he did make the comment, and it is a fascinating thing that the film, after 45 years, still holds out to this day. It is something that I think that really surprised people, and I am hoping that, well, all said and done, I think when people look back at it, they realize just how much an important piece of art that this film has done. And maybe, who knows, maybe that one day we have a Godfather-like film that will actually give us a chance to talk about these movies coming into play. But it is something that's very interesting. He did made the question, and I think people were stunned just a little bit that he would say that would not have gone as well as one may think. For those, let's continue on because I rambled enough with that. For those who think American Idol is done, think again. There is a report done by Julian Copwell saying that American Idol may be on a reboot stage and is heading to ABC, not Fox. According to the Huffington Post, Idol will remain Idol no more. The executive reports from Variety reveals that ABC has a deal in place to revive the singing competition show, which ended its 15th season run on Fox on 2016. Saturday that the deal is complete and will be announced next week at the network upfront, where the new show or forecast will be showcased for ad buyers. The new Illustrated American Idol has a tentative premiere date next March, potentially on Sunday nights. There is no word yet in which musical heavy hitters might show up as judges. Why can't they let this show just die? I was surprised it had that long of a run to begin with. 15 seasons is a long time for a show like this. I'm not a big fan of this show, and to me, honestly, the only reason why many people watch it to begin with, other than the fact that they wanted to vote for their favorite stars, is the fact that they wanted to see those who was messing up. I really didn't see the appeal of it. Again, not to say that all of them are bad, that I just don't see it's really that appealing. Now, keep in mind, it is put on a Sunday, so obviously the 2-day thing has pretty much gone by the wayside. And according to this article on February, Variety reported that ABC will be eyeing Idol reboot, but concluded that the network ultimately passed to avoid competition with its other single competition series, The Voice, now in his 12th season. So again, this is going to be very interesting to see what's going to happen. And keep in mind, The Voice, it was in competition with Idol being on Fox, them on NBC. This will be on now ABC. So it's a good question of, should they just let it go? I mean, really let it go? Because I don't hear much about these shows anymore. It's not like nobody's actually keeping scoop of it. And to be honest with you, I didn't even know it was on there last season until I actually saw a poster of it. So I just don't. I think they should just let it go. But you guys may disagree about it. I like to hear what you have to say about it. I like to hear what your comments about it. But if this one I thought I seen the end of American Idol, here they are, just proving me wrong in many ways. I have to put a little bit of politics on this. As you heard right now, this is done by Macro Assumptions. Ellen isn't interested in having Donald Trump on our show. I don't know why she would after all the stuff that's been going on. But then again, this was. And if the chances ever came up that Ellen DeGeneres hosts President Trump on her talk show, chances are she declined. The Ellen DeGeneres host told NBC Matt Lira this week that she didn't have much interest in having Trump as a guest. Would you like him to come on the show? Lira asked, and which Emmett replied, no. Why would you even ask? That's a no-brainer. She's not going to have him on the show, especially with his stance on LGBT people who are evangelicals who got him in. He's not going to go on the show, and she's not going to put him on the show. Asked why she's fun, because I'm not going to change my mind. He against everything that I stand for, he asked. And while the exchange regarding tutorial offered the decision about how the talk show host should handle Trump has been ongoing. Last year, ABC Seth Meyers said he wouldn't have Trump on his race show either, although he eventually lifted that ban. Jimmy Fallon also on ABC faced intense blowback when he hosts Trump on for a softball interview 2 months before the 2016 presidential election. The gentleman who recently celebrated the 20-year anniversary of our public coming out as gay ended her response with more general points about respecting the many different views of people around us. We need to look at someone else who looks different than us and believe in something that we don't believe in and still accept them and still let them have their rights, she has said. Don't go yet. Try out for the entertainment newsletter. Okay, that's something I don't do. But you get what she's saying. And I think that's the whole thing, is that she cannot in good conscience have someone who is against who she is, who wants to discriminate against her and those who believe what she believes, and those members of the MCB. It's just not going to fly well, and that's what it's coming down to. That's what many people are. That's what at least that's what she is. At least let me put it. That's why she's making that decision not to have her on the show. Does it make it right or wrong? I'm gonna leave that up to you guys to decide. But to me, I'm surprised somebody would ask that question. I think it was obvious. She never mentioned anything else to it, so I think that was kind of a weird thing. I think she handled the questions very well. I think that they were trying to trap her off a little bit, but it is something that I really, really think they was just trying to get her to say something negative. And she didn't say anything negative. She just said I wouldn't have her on the show, and she gave the reason why. And you gotta live with that. All right, I haven't heard from this person in a while, and with good reason, obviously. Brad Pitt, as you all know, has been very, 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 uh, very quiet. And according to this report here done by Colin Dearback, Brad Pitt opens up about his ripped apart family in his first post-divorce interview. Since featured in Just Brad and Anna Me more than 7 months ago, the former had remained a bit of a mystery. Reports that much similar to Pitt. Give me 1 minute here. The thing just popped right up. Okay. It says here that and it does it again. Hold on, guys. What happens when you do it live, folks? You gotta deal with the unfortunate thing of pop-ups, which I could have sworn I got a thing on my computer that does that. But I'm gonna start again. Ever since reports that much similar, Pitt has been hiding out in the art studio, making sculpture, painting, and pictures that the actor was in the midst of personal crisis of sorts, as his private life was flashed on every tabloid across the country. For the first time since the split with Jolie last September, Pitt has opened up about his life post-divorce on GQ style summer issue, which 3 covers shot of celebrity photographer Ryan McGreedy. In an exclusive interview, the Oscar-winning revealed that he's taking stock of what matters most and making changes to better himself. In the article, he said, "For me, this period has really been about looking at the weakness and failures and owning my side of the street." He told the magazine, "I am an a-hole when it comes to this. When it comes to this need for justice. I don't know where it came from. This hollow quest for justice for me prevented my sight. I can drill on that for days and years. It does me no good whatsoever, and such a silly idea, and an idea that the world is fair, and this is coming out from a guy who hit the lottery. I'm well aware of that. I hit the lottery, and I still waste my time for those hollow pursuits." That's very interesting to hear this. I am kind of surprised that he's actually bringing it up here. He has stopped drinking and doing drugs, and a point of the condition of his ongoing negotiation with Jolie, and started going on therapy to mark his next chapter in his life. "I was losing too much," he sneered. It became a problem, and I'm really happy. It's been half a year now, which is bittersweet, but I got a feeling that I got the feeling on my fingertips again. Truthfully, I could drink a Russian under the table with his own vodka, and added, I was professional. I was good. Although the former Hollywood golden couple has reached an agreement to handle their divorce negotiation privately, Pitt admits of living without his children for months among rumors of child abuse, and was later cleared of all charges, took a toll. In his statement, he says, "I was really on my back and changed to the system where child services was called, and after that you've been able to work together to sort this out. We're both doing our best. He said. "I heard one lawyer said no one wins in court. It's just a matter of who gets hurt worse. And it seems to be true. You spend a year just focusing on building a case to prove your point and why you're right and why you're wrong. And why they're wrong, And it's just an investment of involuntary hatred. I just refuse. And unfortunately, my partner is in this agrees. It's just very, very jarring for the kids, and suddenly have our family ripped apart." he continued. Oh man. With his Netflix movie War Machine out this month, and a comment with Jolie in commitment with Jolie to act as an untied front, Trent is focused on ensuring a better future for himself and his 6 children. People people on their deathbed don't talk about what they are attained or were answered. They talk about the loved ones and or ones or their regrets. They seem to be a menu, he said. I say that someone who lets their work take me away. Kids are so delicate. They absorb everything. They need to have their hands held and think this planes. They need to be listened to. When I get in that busy work mode, I am not hearing what I want to be better than at that. That being said, he has no illusions that the fascination with his life will be over anytime soon. He is Brad Pitt after all, and being part of one of the most famous pairs of all time means that people always want to know more. It concludes in his articles that he continues song, I know I'm just in the middle of things now, and I'm not at being, I'm sorry, I know I'm just in the middle of things now, and I'm not at the beginning of it, at the end of it, just, or at the end of it, just where this chapter is right now, just smack dub in the middle. I'm effing in the middle of it, and it's just I don't want to dodge any of it. He said, I just want to stand there, shirt open, and take my hits and see and see. So he's on a journey right now, and again, this is a very compelling article. Good job by the, I'm going to give the guy credit, by Cole DeBuck. You guys, it's on the Huffington Post, you guys can see it yourself. Again, when this whole Angelina Jolie thing came down, people were confused. There was a lot more focus on Jolie than it was with Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt has been very silent about the whole thing, and the fact that he's opening up now about the stuff really shows. And this is also proof positive how personal demons can ruin. It takes personal demons sometimes to ruin a family. We've heard a lot of it with Peter Sellers and his family. We heard a lot about it with the Prince. At one point, we heard a lot about with a lot of these actors who got famous, but yet the fame didn't pretty much cloud the fact that they have personal demons that become so out of control that it affects not just them but the family members here. And you only hope that this is will at least let him be more aware of these personal demons, confront these demons, and he does become a better person for both himself, his children, and even his ex-wife. This is a very, very shocking admission, but a very relief one, because the fact that he's admitting some of this stuff means that he is making progress on the road to recovery. He's the one thing is very right when it comes to these bitter divorce cases and custody cases. There really is no winners. All right, there really are no winners in this. The family is torn apart at that point, and thankfully, Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt realized the dangers of this and actually came to some kind of term where it's not, where it is not having that kind of thing spill over to the media, because the media can be harsh and can blow things way out of proportion a lot more than what it is. So, hopefully Brad Pitt can continue moving forward. Same thing with Angelina Jolie, because this has definitely been a blow for her as well as her children, as well as everybody involved in this. And the only thing you can say is hope things work out in the long run. Alright, that's going to be it. That's going to be all I'm going to talk about in the entertainment roundup here There's going to be a change in time in Entertainment Roundup soon because I have another podcast going on, so I'm going to have to adjust the time a little bit. Plus, another podcast is premiering this coming month, so I got to make sure I make it world. I probably this will be on the middle day or pretty much on a Sunday morning or a Saturday morning. I haven't decided yet because we're juggling things around. We will have another show next week, but it probably won't be on its usual Monday time. So just keep that in mind. This probably won't be on the Monday time. It'll probably be on a Tuesday, and just move on because of J&J Mondays. But again, as always, if you guys have any comments on what we talked about here, you know what to do. Leave it in the comment section below. Let me know. We will be discussing about the Star Wars trailer in depth because me and Josh gonna have something to talk about, as well as the Dark Towers. We will be talking about that on the J&J Monday, so keep it live. That's gonna be also a live feed. But until next time, J77 saying take care, be safe. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.